Even if you suffer with mental illness, you can still have a perfectly functioning life. I still go to college now. I still do various different courses. I have a job. I have a boyfriend. My life doesn't stop because I have a mental illness. Sometimes I have difficult days, but you just got to push through it and you just got to keep going, because that's not the only thing about you. There's so much more. It's just one little tiny aspect of your life. My name is Grace. I'm 17 years old and I've suffered from various different mental illnesses since I was 12. People wouldn't really listen to me, like they kind of dismissed me as just being another anxious teenager. So I wasn't really heard, so I kind of internalized all those feelings and I started self-harming when I was 13 to kind of have an outlet for those feelings, which wasn't the best idea. I developed lots of different forms of anxiety. So I developed social anxiety, so I had a big fear of being in social situations, which made school quite difficult. So it was very difficult for me to go to school and just be around people. And a lot of people found that really hard to understand, that I couldn't sit in the class, I couldn't sit with my friends at lunch, I wanted to be alone. So they didn't quite understand that. So it took a couple of years for people to finally listen to me about that. I also developed separation anxiety, so I found it quite hard to not be around my parents. So I found that it was another way that I found it difficult to go to school, because I just wouldn't want to get out of the car. I'd want to make sure that my mum was okay, my dad was okay. I didn't want to leave them in fear of something bad happening to them. A lot of my anxiety did develop into OCD, and a lot of people do think OCD is just washing your hands and having everything in a perfect position, but that isn't exactly what it is. It's so much more than that. There are lots of different types of OCD. So my OCD surrounds hoarding, security, so I've always got to check and make sure things are locked, and I also have to do things a certain number of times. So it's like magic numbers, and unless you do it that amount of times, you believe something bad's going to happen because of that. I will distract myself as much as I can until I can get help or until I can have my next appointment. I go for walks. I watch a lot of comedy, because you can always have a good laugh with comedy. I do a lot of reading, listen to music, just lots of creative things. In mental health services, they're trained to not judge you, they're trained to help you. And I found that after years and years of being in mental health services, talking to various different people, going from clinician to clinician, I find it more easier to talk to people who I don't know. So just talk to anybody you can. I find it easier to talk to people who are also going through mental illness, because I know that they can relate to me and that they won't judge me, and we can kind of swap ideas on what's worked for us and what hasn't. I met one of my best friends 2 years ago, and she's from Germany, and we found each other through Instagram, and we connected because we both suffered from various different mental illnesses, and we kind of grew closer because of that. At college I'm doing health and social care, so I'm focused on the care aspect, and I'm hoping to go into psychology and mental health services as a career in future. I want to help people where I wasn't helped before, so I want to make sure that people's voices are heard and people realise that mental illness doesn't define them and you can do so much more.